Hello, I'm Jap from Cricut Maker Craft.
In this masterclass, I'll be sharing every single thing that you need to know about Design Space to create beautiful projects. Before we begin, I just want you to know you don't have to take any notes because I've already compiled everything that I'll be sharing in this masterclass in a PDF cheat sheet that you can grab right now by clicking the button below. Inside the cheat sheets, you'll find step-by-step guides to perform all the common Cricut tasks. I found these cheat sheets really helpful when I was starting out, which is why I love recommending it to every Cricut owner. So far, it has been purchased by over 400 people who absolutely love using it. The cheat sheets are currently available for a half price for a limited time, so grab them before the offer is gone. Alright, now let's get started with the masterclass.
So this is what a design space canvas looks like. It is divided into a total of 6 sections. So on top we have the header, where you can see there's a heading for the canvas, and we have the hamburger option over here, and then we have the title of the project over here, and then we have some options which we're going to look into later on. And then on the left hand side we have the design panel with a couple of different options which I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. Then we have right under the header we have the edit panel. So here you'll find all the different options to edit your image or edit your project. And right below that we have the text editing panel, and this one only appears when there's a text on your canvas. And lastly, on the right hand side we have the layers panel with all the different options like group, ungroup, duplicate, and at the bottom, as you can see over here, the bottom right, this is an extremely important section. Let me just zoom in a bit so you can see we have all these 4 or 5 different options. These are extremely important to understand because they will help you in taking your projects to the next level. So, all right, now let's get started. We'll first look into everything that's on the left hand side, and then we're going to move to the edit panel at the top, the text edit panel and the main edit panel. We're going to discuss both of them, and as you can see, since I do not have any text selected, there is no text edit panel over here. And the moment I click on this text, you will see that the text edit panels appear here for us to edit the text. So once we're done with these 2 edit panels, we're going to move on to this panel at the right hand side, and we're going to look at each of these options one at a time. Now let's have a look at all these options over here. The first one over here is new. So clicking on it opens up a new project. Let's say you're working on something and you're done with it. You can just go ahead and save it and then just click on the option for new, and a new canvas will pop up. Next we have templates. This is extremely important. A lot of people miss this. So what actually happens when you click on templates is it will take you to this huge library of templates. So you have so many different options. So these are actually there to guide you so that you can adjust the size of your graphics to fit on these stuff. So let's say you are making a graphic to put on the apron. So you can just click on the apron. So once you click on the apron, you can see an apron has appeared over here on the canvas. So let's say you want to add a text over here. So how do you know that your text will fit on your apron? So this is where you're going to use your template.
So as you can see over here, let me just zoom in a bit. So you can see now you can easily resize your text to make it bigger or smaller, however you want it, and easily place it on your template and see what it looks like. So this is extremely helpful for making literally any kind of project. So we have gazillion templates over here, and you can use these to get perfectly sized graphics. All right, now let's move to the next option, which is projects. So when you click on projects, you will end up on the Access library where all the projects are listed. You have so many different categories over here. So if you can just click on anything you want to make. So let's say I want to make this cake topper. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to click on customize. And there you go, my cake topper is here. Now, if you want, you can just customize it however you like, and then you can click on make it, and then you'll get the option to purchase it before cutting it out. Let's go back by clicking cancel. All right, here we are back again. So I'm just gonna move this away. And next option over here is images. So when you click on it, it will take you to your image library. So these are the images available from Cricut Access. And over here, you can also access the cartridges. Like I said earlier, nowadays, Cricut only has digital cartridges, and you can purchase these cartridges from here.
The next thing we have over here is the text tool. So when you click on it, a box will pop up where you can add your text. So here's the box. As you can see, it's at the bottom left corner. So here you can add whatever text you like. So once you have added the text, it's going to appear on the canvas, as you can see over here. Later on in this lesson, I will tell you how to edit this text. For now, just this much is more than enough. So let me just get rid of all of this from here. Next, we have the shapes. So once you click on it, a list of shapes will pop up. And to add the shapes to the canvas, all you gotta do is click on the shape that you like. And there you go. So you can add as many shapes as you want by just clicking on each of the shapes. There's also an option for the score line. So once you click on it, this line will pop up and you can add it to your project so that when you move to the cutting part, you can score your project using this line. One more thing to remember is when you're working with score lines, always make sure that you select both the score line and the image and you click on attach so that the score line stays in place when you move to the mat. So this was all about the shapes. All right, now let's have a look at all the different options at the edit panel over here. So first, over here, we have the undo and redo arrows. So if you make a mistake, or if you want to go back, or if you want to redo whatever you did, you can just make use of these two arrows. The next, we have line type. This is probably one of the most important things about Design Space, the line type, because it helps you in differentiating between a cut, a draw, or a score. So if you have cut selected, the machine is going to cut everything out using the blade. However, if you have draw selected, the machine is going to write everything out for you instead of cutting. So once you click on draw, you'll see that the color of the shape has changed. So now there is like an outline around the square. And once you click on it, you can also change the type of pens given over here. So these are all the Cricut pens available. So you can choose any of those from here, and you can also select the specific colors. Next, we have scores. So once you click on the score, the outline changes to dotted lines, as you can see over here. Let me just make this bigger so you can see that these are all dashed lines. So this means your machine is going to use the scoring stylus or the scoring wheel instead of the blade to score these lines instead of cutting them. So score lines are obviously not going to be used for text. This is just an example. You're going to use the score lines for making cards or 3D objects and stuff like that. So let's go back to cutting. All right. Now let's move to the option next to line type, which is fill. This section comes with two different options. No fill, that means this is going to get cut out as it is. But if you select print, this means that it's going to first print it out and then cut it. Now keep an eye on the right hand side over here. Right now you can see it says cut. But when I click on print from here, the option changes to cut and print. That means this thing is first going to get printed out on a paper, and then you can easily cut it out. So this is obviously not the perfect thing for text. Let me bring in some image, and then I can show you how this actually works. Alright, so here we have an image of myself. That's me, Ninja Jeff. And as you can see right now, print is selected, and you can see all these different colors. There's black, there's pink, there's brown, and on the right hand side it says cut, then print. However, when I change the fill to no fill, you will see that all the colors have disappeared, and if I go ahead and click make it, it's just gonna cut out this image on any paper that I put on the mat. But if there is print selected from the drop down menu, and let me change the color to original artwork, which was this, restore, there you go. Now it's first gonna prompt me to print this image, and then I can place it on the mat so that the machine can cut it for me. So don't worry about all the details on how this is going to happen. We will talk about it later when I show you in the other lessons how to do print and cut. For now, just remember what happens when you select print and what happens when you select no fill. All right, now let's move to the next part, which says select all. So when you click on this, everything on your canvas gets selected. So you don't have to actually click and drag your mouse if you want to select everything. All you gotta do is just select all, and within a second everything is going to be selected. Alright, next we have the edit option. So using these options you can cut, copy, paste, do whatever you like with your image. So let's say I want to copy this image. So I'm just going to click on it, go to edit, and just click on copy. And then I need to click on paste. And there you go, we have our copied image. The easier way to do this is by just clicking on duplicate from the right hand side panel. And there you go, you have another copy of your image. Now let me just delete these. And if you don't want to use, the easiest way to delete something is to just click on this cross. But you can also use the edit tool over here and cut it out. And there you go, it has disappeared from the canvas. Now let's move on to the next part, which is all about arranging. So this comes in handy when you're working with a vinyl project, a layered vinyl project, and you want to position all your images so that you can figure out how it's going to look once the project is done. So what you can do is use this panel to arrange everything. So right now, now let me change the color of this image so that it becomes easier to understand. Right now you can see the ninja is on top of this layer at the bottom. Now I want to move it around so that the ninja is behind. So what I'm going to do is just click on this image and I'm going to go to arrange and I'm going to click on move forward. So what move forward does is just moves it by one layer, and when you click on send to front, it jumps over all the layers and ends up in the front. So now you can see that the ninja is behind the shoe right now, and this is all thanks to the arrange option over here. Next, we have the flip option. So by using this option, you can turn anything 180 degrees or you can mirror it. So when I clicked on flip horizontally, this is what happened. It's like a mirror image now. And then you can also flip it vertically like this. And there you go. This is great for creating like mirror images, one on top of the other and stuff like that. So next we have the size option. If you imported some file and it's really large, what you can do is just go to this size option. You can just enter any number you like over here. Let's say 5, and you will see that immediately it reduces the size of the image so that it's much easier to work with, and you don't have to keep on zooming the image or dragging the image to make it smaller. So this is like a real quick fix, and I use it like almost all the time. Alright, next we have the rotate option. So let's say you want to rotate this image. You can either go for this arrow over here and just hold it and drag it all around, or if you want specific sharp rotations, you can just right here, let's say 90 degrees, and there you go. It's a perfect 90-degree rotation. You can do the same if you want 180 degrees, and there you go. Now let me just put it back as it was, and here we are back again. And the last option over here tells you where your image is on your canvas. So this tells you the exact location of your image. So right now you can see it's 11.2. So this is where it is, and from the y-axis it starts at 1.8. So yep, this is where it is.
I know this is a lot to digest and remember, which is why I've created these extremely helpful cheat sheets that you can grab right now at 50% off to keep at your side while you're working on your projects. Just click the button below to get them right now.
All right, now let's move on to the text edit panel. So let me move this image out of the way. I'm going to click on my text. So, like I mentioned earlier, the method to add text is by just going to the left-hand side panel and clicking on text. Your text box is going to pop up, and then you can write whatever you want over here. Let me just right-click it again. And you can now start working with this text. I'm going to delete this because I already have my text over here. So, and as you might have noticed, when text is not selected, the text edit box is also not there. So once you click on the text edit box appears, and now we can start working with our text. Let me just zoom in so you can see all the options clearly. All right. So the first option over here is the font. From here, you can change the font of your text. And when you click on it, you will see all these different headings over here. So the first one will show you all the fonts. So the cool thing about Design Space is that it brings up all the fonts that are installed in your computer, which are stored under System. And once you click on it, you will be able to access all of the fonts that are installed on your computer. And under Cricut are all of these paid fonts, which you can only access if you have the Cricut Access membership, or if you pay for all of these fonts given over here. So if you want to get hold of some fonts, you can go to thefont.com, but the problem over there is that most of the fonts are only for personal use. That means you cannot use them for business. If you use them and if the designer catches you, they can sue you. But there's also a really good website where you can get commercial use fonts, business use fonts for a very affordable price. Sometimes they're also available for free, which is Hungry JPEG. All right, so here are some of the fonts. I'm just gonna select something random. So this is the font I got from Hungry JPEG, and it was $1. It's pretty nice as well. So yeah, now let's have a look at the second option over here. So under style, you can change it to bold or italic, or bold and italic, whatever you like. I'm just gonna leave it as bold for now. And we're back to this. And then we have the font size. So let's say you want to change the font size to something extremely specific that is like 200, then you can do it from here. Or else if you just want to do it roughly, you can just click and drag this arrow over here. The next option allows us to change the letter space. Right now you can see there's lots of space, unnatural space between all these letters. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change this to 0. And there you go. Everything is closer together now. And you can also reduce it further if you like. And there you go. It looks pretty good, pretty perfect. Next, we have the line space. So this comes in handy when there are two different lines of text. Now, let me just edit this thing a bit. So you need to double click to allow the text box to pop up. And you can see that there's such a huge gap between the text at the top and the text at the bottom. It looks completely unnatural and so not pleasing to the eye. So I'm just gonna reduce the line space and change it to 0. There's still a lot of gap over here. Let me go down further, make it really condensed so it doesn't look so unnatural. All right, I think you get the idea of what this line space is all about. Next, we have the alignment tool, and this can change the alignment. You can align it to center or right or left, whatever you like. And then we have the curve tool, which will only work if there's one line of text. So let me just edit this again, double click and move everything in one line like this. And as you can see, the curve option has all lighted up. Now we can easily curve this text. So all you got to do is click on the curve option, and if you just move it to the right or to the left, you'll be able to curve your text all the way. How cool is that? So I'm going to leave it like this. Next, we have the advanced option, which will allow you to ungroup the letters so that you can move them individually. As you can see, the S is separated from the I, and I can easily get rid of it and replace it with something else, an image or maybe a shape. Let's add a shape over here. Let's put the S back and let's get rid of the O over here. And instead of O, we can place a heart, rotate it a bit, resize it, and there you go. Now I can delete this completely and get it out of the way. So we have a new type of text over here with a cute little heart in the center. So this is how you detach everything by going to Advanced and clicking on Ungroup. And as you can see over here, everything is now a single letter instead of one combined text. If you would like to combine all of this again, what you can do is just click and drag your mouse all over it and click on Group on the right hand side. And now everything is grouped together, and as you can see, now I won't be able to pick each individual letter separately. Now, one common problem that a lot of people have is when they write down some text or a sentence or something, and when they click on make it, let me show you. So when they click on make it, when it goes to the mat, everything is scattered all over the place. Okay, so looks like we have a problem here because this is 15 inches wide. So we need to make it smaller so that it fits on the mat. All right. Now let me show you again. I hope it works this time. So when you click on make it, all right, here you go. So you can see that everything is scattered all over the mat. This just looks ridiculous. Like, who is gonna piece all of these together? No, you don't have to do that. You can just click on cancel, go back to your go back to your canvas. Once again, click and drag to select everything, and then just click on attach, so that this ensures everything sticks together when you send it to the mat. So let's try it once more. I'm going to change the color so that it's easily visible. So let's go to the mat again. And there you go. Everything is as it is. So now you know the hack. All right, let's go back, click on cancel. All right, so we're done with the two edit panels, the text edit and the top edit panel. Now we're gonna move to the layers panel as I promised. So under the layers panel, you have group, ungroup. We have already worked with that feature, and I've already shown you duplicate. Now, here are some of the features that you might want to have a look at. We also had a look at cut and print. So when you have cut and print selected over here, the option pops up over here. And if you also have instead of cut, you change it to draw, you can see that everything has changed based on whatever you have selected over here. Now let me show you when I click on score, everything says it's score, score, score. Go back to cut. And there you go. Now this I thing over here means if let's say you don't want to view this thing, then you can just hide it by clicking on this I. So these are all the options. Now let's move to this these guys, the most important guys that can change your entire project. So first thing over here we have is the slice tool. So what does the slice tool do? This slice tool works like a cookie cutter. So let me just pull some shapes here. Star, square. All right. So let me just change the color of this square, purple. And we have the star in gray color. And right now you can see the star is hidden behind the square. So like I showed you earlier, I'm going to go to the arrange option and send the rectangle to the back so that I can see the star. And there you go. We have the star and the rectangle. Now I'm just going to click and drag to select both of these. And then I'm going to click on the slice tool. Whoa, look at that. There is a hole in the square. There's a stencil cut out of the star in the square. How cool is that? So this is the use of the slice tool. You can use it to cut out the shapes. So another cool use of the slice tool is when you're working on projects larger than the mat. So let me just bring this one up over here and show you how this thing works. So let's get rid of all these useless stuff. All right, so let's say this project is larger than the mat. So what you can do is bring in some shapes over here. I usually like to work with a square, and you can place it so that it covers half of the image or something, so that this half can fit on one mat and this half can fit on the other mat. So once again, so the thing over here, the key over here is to select both the shape and the image together. So click and drag so that both of them are selected, and go ahead and click on slice over here. And there you go. So you have so this image has been cut into half now. So when you click on make it, so this image can be cut on one mat and this other one can be cut on the other mat. And later, once everything is cut out, you can just glue them together like this. So yeah, that's pretty handy when you're working with larger than the mat projects. So that was all about the slice tool. Now we're going to go to the next option over here, which is weld. So what does weld actually do? Weld attaches two images together permanently. So if now let me just pull out some shapes over here. Let's say I want to draw a house. So let's say I want to create a house. I'm gonna add a square and a triangle. So right now, as you can see, let me change the colors. So we have two different colors. We have the triangle in purple and the square in gray. Now I want to make sure that they are combined as one whole image. So I'm going to select both of them and I'm going to click on weld. And here we have our new image, and it turned out to be as one entire shape, giving us the outline of a house. So this is the function of weld. And one thing to note here is you cannot unweld anything. This also goes for the slice option. You cannot unslice something. Now, one more thing where you can use the weld option is when you're working with cursive fonts. Now, if you see on the left-hand side how each letter in this font is to combine together, there's no cutoff, it's just flowing from one letter to the other. Whereas on this side, you can see that there is a slight gap, slight cutoff over here. These letters are not linked together. That means when you're cutting it out on your mat, it's all going to get cut as individual letters instead of getting cut as one whole word. So what you can do is click on this text and you can go ahead and click on weld, and as you can see now that each of the letters are connected to one another, just like we have over here on the left hand side. So now this whole thing is going to get cut together. This is extremely important when you're working with, let's say, cake toppers, because you don't want any of the letters hanging out by themselves, super lonely, because they're just going to fall off and they're not going to stick together. So when you're working on cake toppers, keep this tip in mind and make sure you weld all of your words, all of your letters together so that they get cut together. So yeah, I hope that made some sense. This was all about the weld tool. Now let's have a look at attach. We have already talked a bit about attach. What it does is keeps everything in place when it goes to the mat instead of having everything scattered around. So let me show you once more how attach works. So we have this text over here. Cricut is love, and let's say I want to add another heart over here. So I want everything together in a group like this. I don't want my heart to be floating around somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything and I'm going to go ahead and click on attach. So now when I click on the heart and move it around, you can see the text also comes with it. And this is different to weld because it's not sticking together, it's not merged together. It's just attached as one group, and I can easily detach it. But when it comes to weld, I cannot unweld it. So let me show you what happens when I weld it. So right now, these are two separate things. But when I click everything and I weld it, it comes out as one complete shape. So you can see that the heart has been welded to the T and S over here. So that's the significance of weld. And like I mentioned earlier, you don't have the option to unweld this thing. Alright, so I hope that made some sense. Let's get rid of it and move to the next option, which is flatten. Alright, now let's have a look at the flatten tool. Now let's say instead of getting this thing cut, I want to turn it into a sticker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my shape, add a square, and I'm going to change the color of this to pink. So let me just send this to the back so I can see the size. And I'm going to unlock this shape so that I can turn it into a rectangle over here like this. And let's say I want to also add some hearts over here, and let me change it to red color. So alright, so now I want to get all of this printed together. So right now, if you look on the right hand side panel, you can see that each of these shapes and image is going to get cut individually, but we do not want that. We want this to be cut along this rectangle only. So what we're going to do is click on flatten instead. And now you can see everything is flattened together and it is one entire image like we wanted it. Now this whole rectangle is going to get cut together and printed together like a sticker, just like we wanted it. So this is the use of the flatten tool. And the good thing about this is you can always unflatten it and fix it up if you like, and then flatten it again. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's move on to the last option over here, which is the contour.
All right, now let's have a look at how to use the contour tool. So I have pulled out this cute little image from Cricut Access, and I'm going to demonstrate how to use the contour tool to modify this image to your needs. So let's say I don't want this kawaii face on my cup. Instead, I want something written, like a cute little text. So I'm gonna use contour to get rid of all of these things and instead replace it with a text. So first of all, you need to understand that this feature only works when the image is set up as different layers. So as you can see over here, there are so many different layers involved in creating this image. You can see it on the right hand side panel. Now first of all, I need to go ahead and click on ungroup so that all of this is ungrouped. Alright, so I'm just gonna click on the face layer over here, and I'm gonna go to contour, and I'm gonna hide all of the stuff that I don't want. So I can either click on it over here, or I can click on the individual pieces on the right hand side. Let me just reduce the size of this. So I'm going to click on all of these because I don't want them. I'm just going to exit. And there you go. The eyes are all hidden now. Now I can easily go ahead and add my text. And I can place my text over here. And now I can select all, attach, and get this whole thing cut. So this is how you make use of the contour tool. You can modify any image you like. You can change it however you like it to, and yeah, customize it to your liking and work on your project.
Now that you know the meaning and purpose behind all the functions of Design Space, let me show you how to prepare an SVG file for cutting. This is the SVG file for the pumpkin cart with lots of complex elements, which makes it a perfect example for this video.
So here's the SVG file for the pumpkin cart that I want to cut. I need to change some of the elements of this file. So by default, all the lines in Cricut Design Space are set to cut. However, for some of the projects, you don't want it to cut, you want it to score as well. And we need to change these lines manually. So first of all, we're going to ungroup this whole thing so that we can work with individual layers. So after ungrouping, all of the elements have been divided into subgroups, as you can see in the layers panel. So there's the body, and then there's a thin line kind of thing, which means these are the score lines. So now we need to change the line type of all of these layers into score. So just click on it, click on the layer and go to the line type and select score from the drop down menu, and now you can see that there's our dashed lines over here instead of solid lines, which means the layer has now been changed to score. So you need to do this manually. And even if you want to engrave something or deboss, then you'd still need to change all of these manually. If you want to select 2 layers at a time, click on one layer, hold the Control or Command key on your keyboard, and then click on the other layer. Then go to line type and click score. So this way you can do it much faster. So once you're done changing all the layers to score lines, you need to do one more step before you're ready to cut. Now you need to attach the score lines to the body. So right now, if you go to the mat, the score lines are gonna go to a separate mat and the body is gonna go to a separate mat. But we need to staple these two together first so that they don't move around when we go to the mat. And to do that, you're going to select both the layers together and then go to the bottom panel and click on attach. So now these two are attached together, and here is the section that I'm working with. So you can now see that the lines are attached together, and now when I go to the mat, they're gonna be grouped together on the mat as well. So when you get an SVG file, you need to do these preparations first before you start cutting. Alright, so now your file is ready to be cut, and you can go ahead and start cutting it.
Alright, with that we have reached the end of this masterclass. I hope you feel confident about using this app to create beautiful projects with your Cricut. To avoid getting stuck on a project in the future, make sure you grab the Design Space cheat sheets, which are currently available for a half price before the offer is gone. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram to stay updated with the latest Cricut news and projects. Bye-bye.